Welcome to the stream, everyone. My name is Brian Craig. This is where MAGA comes to talk. We're going to be live on the radio in less than 1 minute. And, of course, as you can see on the screen, I'm going to start talking about Kash Patel's first investigation, which will lead to arrest, I promise you. And it's of Comey. And we're going to talk about the significance of that and take your calls, okay? Less than 20 seconds to go. If you're new, this is where MAGA comes to talk. Welcome, one and all. And if you'd like to call in live, the toll-free number is in the chat pinned there. All right, here we go. Stand by. Welcome to the program, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You are listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977, celebrating 48 years on the radio. Oh, man, we got so much to talk about today, but I'm going to talk about the first investigation, which I expect to lead to arrest by the great Kash Patel, director of the FBI. I misspoke. Excuse me. Kash Patel, director of Trump's FBI, and deputy director of Trump's FBI, Dan Bongino. That sounds like a fantasy, like some meme somebody put together a couple years ago. It's hard to believe that's the truth, isn't it? It's amazing. So it was announced yesterday that the first major investigation from the new Trump FBI, led by the dynamic duo of Kash Patel and Dan Bongino, is going to be into Comey. And I'm going to read this article, and I've got some audio I want to play involving this. But, you know, I have noticed, and I've mentioned here and there, the absence of Comey. We haven't seen too much of Comey, have we, lately? Really, over the last year or so, I haven't seen Comey at all. Now, maybe he's been on MSNBC because I don't watch that, but he's been out of the limelight. And for them to target Comey as the focus of their first major investigation, Kash Patel and Bongino and Pam Bondi, that tells me that they believe that Comey is either the ringleader or one of the leaders of the plot against Trump. This is from the Washington Times. Headline is this: FBI looking into James Comey's off-the-books honeypot operation targeting the 2016 Trump campaign. I'm reading from the Washington Times this morning. FBI leadership, Kash Patel, and soon the number two at Trump's FBI, Dan Bongino. FBI leadership is starting an investigation into the origin of the agency's plan a decade ago to infiltrate the campaign of presidential candidate Donald Trump using two female undercover honeypot agents. Now, for those that don't know, for those of you, honeypot is they find hot girls, and sometimes maybe guys too, because we're in a new world, but they find hot girls to use seduction to make their way into places, okay? The off-the-books investigation, which is illegal, he's investigating a presidential candidate and a president, and I don't know what would this be. These are really high-level crimes, so they didn't pick this one just out of a hat. They're targeting this and Comey, and maybe what some of this has to do is either there's a couple possibilities here that they believe he's a ringleader in the plots against Trump, which I believe he is, and that's certainly true. Or they could just be starting from the beginning of when the illegal targeting of our favorite president, Donald Trump, began. Who knows exactly for sure, but that's okay. We'll find out soon enough. The off-the-books investigation launched in 2015 by FBI Director James Comey was revealed by an agency whistleblower in a protected disclosure to the House Judiciary Committee last year and first reported exclusively by the Washington Times in October. Yeah, I remember that story. In the intelligence community, a honeypot commonly refers to an undercover operative, usually a woman, who feigns sexual or romantic interest to obtain information from a target. This is high-level spy work, The whistleblower said 2 female FBI undercover employees infiltrated Mr. Trump's 2016 campaign at high levels and were directed to act as honeypots while traveling with Mr. Trump and his campaign staff. And let me tell you something. These honeypots, we don't know who they are. They may just be regular agents who we've never heard of, but they very well could be 2 hot women that we know about that may even have gone on to be conservative influencers. Could be. It is very, very, very possible. The Washington Times has learned that the Bureau, now led by Kash Patel and Deputy Director Dan Bongino, isn't that crazy that Dan Bongino and Kash Patel are running the FBI? I mean, I keep getting goosebumps in the mornings talking about what's going on here. This is like our, like fantasy football. This is like our fantasy government we have, right? If we had like a fantasy government league, Kash Patel and Dan Bongino would be right there. The Washington Times has learned that the Bureau, now led by Director Kash Patel and Deputy Director Dan Bongino, is looking for these once undercover employees under Mr. Comey's direction. Oh my goodness. They're looking for the honeypots. Oh my goodness. They probably have it narrowed down to a certain number. The FBI declined the comment. According to the whistleblower disclosure, which the Washington Times reviewed, the investigation differed from Crossfire Hurricane, a later FBI counterintelligence operation that looked into never-proved allegations that the campaign was colluding with Russia. So this is separate from the dossier and all that stuff. The whistleblower said the early off-the-books criminal investigation targeted Mr. Trump and his staff. And we're not sure who on the staff were targeted, but maybe they do. Maybe they know who was targeted. So they have at least the cover identities and photographs of the honeypots. Mr. Trump launched his presidential campaign on June 16th, 2015. Can you believe it's been 10 years? 10 years of Trump. Oh, yes. About a year before the FBI opened Crossfire Hurricane. The whistleblower agent personally knew that Mr. Comey ordered an investigation. And you're going to hear later, Comey actually confessed to this. I have the audio of him confessing. The whistleblower agent personally knew that Mr. Comey ordered an FBI investigation into Mr. Trump and that Comey personally directed it according to the disclosure. This guy's going to go to prison, Comey's going to go to prison. I told you we're going to get high-profile household name arrest from Kash Patel. I wonder who's going to actually put the cuffs on him. Who do you think would put the cuffs on Comey? Kash Patel or Bongino? The investigation did not appear to target a specific crime, but was more of what agents would describe as a fishing expedition to find anything incriminating against Trump. So what they were doing is working for the Hillary campaign. The whistleblower said the undercover operation was obscured from Justice Department Inspector General Michael Horowitz, who investigated misconduct in the Bureau's probe of the Trump campaign. The case had no predicted foundation, so Comey personally directed the investigation without creating an official case file. According to the whistleblower's disclosure, the FBI has multiple methods of protecting highly sensitive investigations, so Comey did not have a legitimate reason to officially create an official investigation file or file number. So he also went out of his way to cover up the evidence. The investigation, which is an illegal investigation, this off-the-books investigation was illegal. The investigation was eventually closed because a major newspaper obtained a photograph of one of the undercovers and was about to publish it. But the FBI press office told the outlet that the photograph was an FBI informant who would be killed if the photograph was publicly released. Little media manipulation. In fact, it was a photograph of the FBI undercover employee. It was not an informant. It was of an employee of the FBI. This is a deep cover operative, and it is very likely someone that we've at least seen. The FBI whistleblower employee noted in the disclosure that one of the undercovers agreed to be transferred to the CIA so she would not be available as a potential witness. So now we got a cover-up. We got a bunch of crimes, right? Hardcore crimes, a criminal conspiracy, some RICO charges here, and now we got a cover-up. The other undercover employee was rewarded for her activities through a promotion in the Bureau and is now a high-level FBI executive in a major field office. Oh, my goodness. The whistleblower employee observed so this whistleblower knows who they are. So it's not going to be hard for FBI Director Kash Patel and Deputy Director Dan Bongino to get to them, figure out who they are. They probably already know. The whistleblower employee observed one or more employees of the FBI being directed to never discuss the operation with anyone ever again, including other people involved in the 2016 Trump campaign infiltration operation. The FBI employee making the disclosure took this admonishment as a direct threat to the employees who received it. Oh my, Carrie Pickett over at the Washington Times is the byline on that story. This is, I don't know if it's treason because he wasn't president yet, but this is some hardcore crimes and a criminal conspiracy. And this wasn't just Comey and a couple hottie agents, okay? There was a larger conspiracy involved with this, and we're going to find out everything about it. Now, we're going to take our first break, and when we get back, there's a lot more to share. We've only just begun, like the Carpenter said. My name is Brian Craig. This is Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. Our number is toll-free, 1-888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. We'll take our first break and be right back. Oh, man. It's not looking good for Mr. Comey, is it? Not at all. So I'm going to go through some of the audio of him when we get back. Oh, yeah, the toll-free number is pinned in the live chat. Man, oh man. Oh, no, I can't wait either. I cannot wait. Can't wait. This is like Christmas. It's MAGA Christmas, is what it is. MAGA Christmas. Isn't it? Don't you feel like MAGA Christmas? MAGA Christmas. No doubt about it. Oh, yeah, I got a lot to cover today. If you're on hold, hang in there. When we get back, I'll get to some of the audio. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. This is where MAGA comes to talk. We're in a radio station commercial break right now. Oh, does not get better than this. Less than 2 minutes and we'll be back. If you're on hold, hang in there. Oh, man. This is as good as it gets. And I'm glad that they're starting with Comey. I'm so glad they're starting with Comey. 70 seconds and we're back on the air. Yeah, if you're on hold, hang in there. Oh, I feel like I'm dreaming. Things are going so perfect, aren't they? Man, oh man. Less than a minute. Trump's back in the White House. It's tax cuts for everyone, but to get tax cuts, you actually have to pay taxes. And President Trump will be cutting the taxes on tips and Social Security. So now it'll be the tax cuts for the hardest working as well. You got to get some new talking points, Democrats. Those talking points are out of date with Trump. Where'd you get your talking points? The 1990s? 20 seconds. 10 seconds. Stand by. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to Florida's longest running radio show. Callers on hold, stand by. And I'm going to do this throughout the show today. The turnout yesterday at the Revocable Living Trust workshop with Attorney Barry Siegel was huge. And I was so overwhelmed by the turnout. I really was. I was shocked. And the reason, there were so many. We just had this event, Steve and I, on Inauguration Day at Wings Plus, which was standing room only at Wings Plus. Standing room only. Okay, they didn't have enough tables. They were rotating tables. And this is a month later, and it's a Tuesday at 10 for a workshop on estate planning and revocable living trust. And I thought, okay, and I got off the air and immediately got in my car and headed there. And it took me over an hour to get there that time of day from Palm Beach Gardens, where the radio station is. So I got there a few minutes late. I was not making a dramatic entrance. I got there as fast as I could from the radio station. And Barry had just started. And he said, "Oh, Brian, how you doing, Brian?" And when this is something I've never had happen before, not like this. I walked in to the room, in the back of the room, and then Barry had just started his presentation. He says, "Oh, Brian, how you doing?" I said, "Hey, Barry," And the room, it was a big room. It was completely filled, and everyone gave me was applauding me. I've never had that happen before. And it was really overwhelming, the support. So I want to thank all of you. And I'm going to do this throughout the show today. I was really overwhelmed by your support of coming out to meet me at Attorney Barry Siegel's workshop yesterday. Everyone who came, thank you so much. It was really nice of you all to do that. I really appreciate it, as does Attorney Barry Siegel and the Siegel Law Group, and it was amazing. And his workshop is always entertaining and interesting. I learned a lot. Okay, so if you're on hold, hang in there. So if you're just tuning in, what we're talking about today, we have the first target, and it's okay to say target of an investigation. Remember Trump? A reporter in the Oval Office asked Trump yesterday, "You targeted with that executive order on you're targeting he says, "Don't talk to me about targeting. I've been targeted the last 4 years." Remember? He was like, that was great. So the first target of FBI Director Kash Patel and Deputy Director Dan Bongino was Comey. And I'm so glad, because Comey's the guy that started all this. And this is for the honeypot investigation, where he had two hottie lady agents seduce people inside the Trump campaign. Who the ladies are and who they seduced, we don't know yet. But Kash Patel and Bongino and the president know, I promise you. And I'm telling you, we very well may know who have seen these women, because they were on the first campaign and they stood out. The good-looking people. People's eyes always go to the beautiful women. This is a highly illegal operation. It's separate from the dossier Crossfire Hurricane business. And Comey very well will be arrested by Kash Patel and Dan Bongino and go to prison for this. And I'm not sure if they've started with Comey because they're starting at the beginning. And maybe they are. Maybe Kash Patel has this all planned out with Pam Bondi. They're going to start from the beginning and go through the whole thing. All right, let's take some of these calls. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Me?
Yeah, it sounds like you.
Okay. Well, I can barely hear you.
Well, I can hear you. Go ahead. What's on your mind?
Okay. Am I on the radio?
Yeah, you're on the air. If you hear my voice, you're on the air. Always assume that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I was involved in a 3.5-year long FBI investigation, theft of technology, defense technology.
Okay.
And the assistant U.S. attorney called me to his office, and he congratulated me. And he said, after 3.5 years, the FBI is taking your case to a grand jury, and that was great news. And I was working with the South Florida FBI.
Well, what does that? Can you I'm sure it's an interesting story, but is it relevant to what's going on with this Kash Patel Bongino investigation of Comey? I mean, you have something to add to that?
Yes, because Comey was involved in the case. And anyways,
there was a case against you, or you were an investigator?
No, they called me the victim.
You were okay, and Comey was involved in this. Okay.
Yes, and they shut down the FBI case before it could go to a grand jury, and I managed to get a hold of my representative. At the time, it was Alan West, and he wrote a letter to House Oversight asking why the FBI investigation was shut down. And Darrell Issa was the chairman of House Oversight, and he opened a House Oversight investigation into the FBI shutting down the case before it would go to a grand jury.
Okay.
And the FBI shut down the Oversight Committee investigation.
So I mean, how, just to catch me up, what's the connection to what's we're talking about? What's in the news today?
Well, it's the action, the criminal action, which involves. I don't want to name names over the.
All right.
I'd like to talk.
No, I'm not talking to you off the air about it. No, I want nothing to do with any off the air conversation about any of that. No, I'm not in. No. Hey, listen, I appreciate the call. I'm not. We don't have time for the personal stories, but try not to be sure. I was hoping he was going somewhere, had some experience that was relevant, but no. Now, after our bottom of the hour break, I'm going to get into some audio, one of which it sounds to me like Comey confessed to the crime, and there is video which very well could be a confession. Comey spent a lot of time going on television and doing interviews, and this one of the clips I'm going to play very well could be used in a grand jury like the guy was just talking about, or in a federal court as evidence against Comey that he is in fact guilty of what Kash Patel is investigating right now, this honeypot investigation, which was an off-the-books illegal investigation. So we're going to take our break for the bottom of the hour. Our number, 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. My name is Brian Craig. Back right after this. All right, we are out. I'm going to be short with the guy, but, the personal, I didn't see the relevance to the personal story, and, and I'm not going to talk to people off the air about investigations. Now, I want to tell you guys, sponsor today's stream is this incredible book, Everyday AI. And it talks about, and it's a very good book. I have this book. It's free on Kindle Unlimited, but if you don't have Kindle Unlimited, you can get it just for $2 on Kindle. It's also available in paperback. Everyday AI, unlocking the power of artificial intelligence in your life. Learn how AI can change your life today. So with this book, Pretty cool cover, too. You can learn all about ways that you can use AI, like ChatGPT and a lot of other AI systems in your daily life to make things a little easier for you. And I think you'd be surprised how much you can do with AI. It is not just something you got to be a tech whiz like Elon Musk to use. It's really the AIs that are out there, and you'll learn with this book, Everyday AI. The AIs that we have today are meant for people like you and me that are not computer experts. And I think you'll get a lot out of this book, I promise you. Everyday AI on Amazon. It gets free on Kindle Unlimited. I will pin the link in the chat room. And if you could click that link and order a copy, I'd be very, very appreciative of that. Let me see here. If you're on hold, hang in there. I'll take some more calls. Yeah, I'll go pin the link in the chat. I got to use my computer to do that. All right, be right back. There you go. I just pinned the link in both live chats. Everyday AI, free on Kindle Unlimited. Order your copy. They are sponsoring the program this morning, and it's a great book for laymen like you and me on how you can use AI. Free on Kindle Unlimited, but it's just $2 on Kindle. There's also a paperback version available. Order your copy. Okay. Just heard from Mike. We'll be back in about 90 seconds on the radio. I'm going to have to go get more coffee. I'm almost through this one. Can never have enough coffee when I'm doing a show in the morning. Oh, man, this is great. If you're on hold, hang in there. This is as good as it gets. I mean, it's hard to believe all these things are happening. Really, isn't it? It really is. So much is happening, and it's all good. Beautiful. I never would have dreamed, ever, that things would be going this well. Ever. about 35 seconds, and we'll be back on the air. This is our bottom of the hour break. Now, this first call could be that guy I let go. Calling back. If it's him, I'm just going to move. I want to get that out of the way because I got a lot to get to on Comey. Okay, stand by. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. If you're just tuning in, it dropped yesterday. Kash Patel, the director of the FBI, and Deputy Director Dan Bongino, their first investigation is into James Comey, fired James Comey, and this honeypot illegal operation that he ran off the books against Trump's campaign in 2016. And I will be playing his confession in a bit. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Mike from Louisiana.
Hey, Mike.
You know, think about this. You mentioned earlier in that story about this woman that was a honeypot that went over and was being hid at the CIA.
Yeah.
Right? You know, that, you know what that does? That brings in Brennan into this circle.
Yeah.
You know, he was the head of the CIA at the time.
That's
now,
true.
Is this woman? Does the story say that this woman is still there?
One is at the CIA, and the other is got a high level position in a field office of the FBI somewhere. They know who they are, I'm assuming.
Okay, so I'm gonna say if Kash Patel goes over to Ratcliffe and says, "I want this woman," Ratcliffe's gonna give her up.
Well, my guess is they either know who they are or have photographs and video of them and have it narrowed down a little bit because they know when it happened. They know who was around and who's not around, and they have a bit of a time frame. So, you know, I was talking earlier that they would probably go after some low-hanging fruit. So this may be a very easy one because President Trump may have encountered these agents.
Right, and that's the thing. You have, you know, Andy McCabe, who's still on TV, who's all huffy about things now because he knows he's done some bad things. You have all these other people that are huffy about things.
Hey, Mike, you're right. I agree with everything you said there, and I wouldn't be so sure they think they did bad things. You got to understand. These people are lunatics. They don't think they're criminals. They don't think they're traitors. They think they're patriots, okay? They think that they were involved in an operation to save America. So, no, these they don't think they're bad guys. Now, Comey in particular, if you remember, now this investigation is separate and apart from the dossier, right? The Russian dossier, the Crossfire Hurricane. That was another illegal thing that they were doing. But when President Trump was president-elect the first time, remember, Comey went to President-elect's office at Trump Tower and threw the fake dossier on his desk and said, you know, we can either investigate this or it can go away, you know, wink, wink, if you play ball. And Trump kicked him out of the office then. And I'm just starting, the more I think about this, the more I think that they're starting at the beginning of the lawfare and illegal activities against President Trump, and the honeypots may be the first. Maybe the honeypots are the ones that planted the bugs at Trump Tower. And remember when President Trump came out and said Obama's spying on me? Maybe they're the ones that planted the listening devices at the campaign headquarters. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Chris from Pamela. How's it going?
Oh, hey, Chris. It was nice to see you yesterday.
Oh, great. Yeah, that was a huge turnout.
Yeah, I know. It was amazing.
Yeah.
I was very moved by that turnout. After it was. I think everybody, including you. You were kind of like my bodyguard from that lunatic that I ran into at the last appearance.
Oh, absolutely. I have to keep an eye. Hey, you still practically got mob back there. Folks are glad to be.
I know. I was really not expecting that kind of turnout because we just did that thing at Wings Plus, and Attorney Barry Siegel will tell you, getting excited in sunny South Florida over a revocable living trust workshop. It's not, you know what I mean. So you put the two of them together, and then we had that turnout. It was amazing. It was amazing.
Exactly. He said, yeah, they broke a record yesterday.
Oh, really? That's good. So what's on your mind?
100% on the investigations. I mean, right away when you started getting into the details, it had to go right to Obama and Clinton both. I mean, they had plenty of reasons to try and keep President Trump out of office.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And I have thought, and I don't know if I've talked about this on the air. Maybe I have mentioned it here and there, but I really don't know. This is just a theory. Comey used to be on TV all the time, and then over the campaign period, I didn't see too much of him. And I have suspected that he's one of the ringleaders behind all this crap against Trump that's been going on. And it's unlike him to not be on TV and sit back in silence.
Yeah, 100%. No, they knew that this was going to come to the forefront one way or another eventually. And it became entirely too obvious. And you mentioned it once or twice that, this whole business about different ones being fired and not getting positions they had hoped for. And then they get self-important. I mean, it was crazy.
Well, the FBI, he fired FBI. I did not know this until President Trump fired Comey. When FBI directors are appointed, they're appointed to a 10-year term. So Kash Patel now has a 10-year term ahead of him. Now, a future president could fire him, but I did not know that. And when he fired Comey, he fired him when he was out in California giving a lecture somewhere, and he found out about it on CNN. And then he had to fly back on the FBI plane, and he was no longer the. It was humiliating. And believe me, someone like Comey doesn't forget about that humiliation.
That's right. I remember there was some type of resentment like that. Exactly. Yeah, you just refreshed my memory. No, absolutely. And they were after him, and that was ridiculous. And the attention they gave all those other little things, like this little dossier stuff, even if it was true, I mean, big deal.
Yeah.
But it was too obvious, and they're idiots.
Mm-hmm. Well, Comey, I don't think it's just a coincidence that he's the first one. I really believe that he is one of the leaders of all the plots against Trump. And there's a lot of conspiracy around him with people that don't have the protections that some of the household names have, like these two honeypot agents. Someone will start talking, and Mike from Louisiana made a very good point. One of them they sent over to the FBI. So, to the CIA. So that means Brennan was involved in this conspiracy. You don't just go from being an FBI agent to a CIA agent. That was director level stuff. So there is a major RICO crime that went on here, and I'm starting to think that the two honeypots planted the surveillance devices at Trump Tower.
No, it's going to break wide open, like you said. And as you're mentioning that, I was thinking earlier about dominoes. Like it's going to open up like nobody's business. Watch, it's going to be, one after the other, going to find out more involvement.
Absolutely.
Well, yes, you're right. Like dominoes,
Yep, this is the first one. Well, listen, it was good to see you yesterday at the Barry Siegel workshop. I appreciate it, and thanks for being my bodyguard.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, take care, man.
Hey, have a good week.
All right, take care. Okay, yeah, it was very nice of him to do that because I've had some, I have never done that before. I've never had like a security person before, ever. So I don't want you to think that's something I normally do, but I am doing it moving forward because of some problems I've had with people in the audience that take issue with me for some reason. I've never had to do that before. And Chris actually walked out with me too to my car, and I was a little nervous about that because I got there late and everything else, and it was nice that he did that. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, Brian. Good morning. Good morning.
Hey, what's up?
I love your topic. I did a little research, and here's the deal. I think President Trump might be able to go after them for personal damages, but unless there's a sexual crime or a death, there's a 5-year statute. Not from the FBI can investigate as long as they want, but the statute of limitations for a crime is 5 years federally.
No, I think listen, I think you're wrong about this, and I'll tell you why. When did this crime stop? You know, what we have is an ongoing crime against President Trump that these people are involved in. This didn't end 5 years ago.
That, you're right.
Kash Patel and Dan Bongino, their first case isn't going to be someone that they can't prosecute. Let me finish. Okay. They found that President Trump's desk was bugged at the Oval Office. That's why they switched out the desks the other day. President Trump referenced this in the Oval Office yesterday. That is a part of this. So and everything in between. So this isn't some one-off thing that happened that is beyond statute of limitations. This has been an ongoing crime.
I don't know if you can link Comey up it's the beginning yet.
Oh, I'm not going to link anybody up. Kash Patel is going after him, and Bongino.
I think what they're doing is they've been called a lot. We've been called conspiracy theorists and everything else. We've been called liars, and then I think they want to prove to the public that these people committed federal crimes.
Well, listen, I got to run for the break, but I appreciate the call. And Richie could not be more wrong. This has been the law. This is the first moment of the lawfare against President Trump, but it has been ongoing. So these aren't 10-year-old crimes outside of the statute of limitations. And Kash Patel and Dan Bongino, their first crime that they investigate is not going to be one that they can prosecute because of statute of limitations. I'm sorry to tell you that. Okay, we are going to take our last break of the first hour. If you're on hold, stand by. Our number is toll-free, 1-888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. We'll be right back after this. Okay, I'll get some of the audio. I'm talking with Mike. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show on the radio since 1977, celebrating 48 years on the radio. I want to talk about Dr. Philip Appleton and his laser-away pain treatment. And I love telling people about Dr. Appleton because he's changed my life. I am pain-free. You know, the 7 times that he's rid me of pain has been some of the worst pains I've experienced in my life. And I think a lot of it just has to do as you grow older, things hurt more and you heal faster. You know, you're a kid, you fall down, you get the wind knocked out of you, you're bleeding and everything, and you're back on your bike. When you get a little older, it doesn't work that way. And I used to hear that when I was younger from older people, but I didn't realize it. It's one of those things you've got to experience. And he's rid me from pain from shoulder injuries 3 times, my arthritis pain, my knee pain. It's amazing. It works. You know, the laser treatment works on every type of pain I've ever heard of. I've met listeners even yesterday at Barry Siegel's event that are pain-free thanks to Dr. Philip Appleton. And it makes me feel good when somebody comes up to me and says, oh, man, if it weren't for Dr. Appleton, I wouldn't be able to be here today. I was in so much pain. Pain is awful, you know. I mean, you don't want to get out of bed. You don't want to get out of the chair. It just hurts. You just want to go to sleep sometimes. And, you know, the laser treatment, there's no drugs, no shots, no injections, no medication, okay, and no downtime. And also no appointment necessary even on Saturdays. Give Dr. Appleton a call, 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. That's 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonCairo.com. All right, say bye-bye to your pain. Okay, so if you're just tuning in, FBI Director Kash Patel and Deputy Director Dan Bongino, their first targeted investigation is Comey, starting with the honeypot infiltration of the 2016 campaign of President Trump's, that actually began in 2015. This is huge. And I'm going to go through some of the audio of Comey and his fears of the return of Trump. And one of these, he actually confesses to this crime. So this is him on MSNBC with Alex Wagner. Alex Wagner was one of the crew of MSNBC who was fired over the weekend with Joyless Reed. And she's the one that did the Tuesday through Friday edition of Rachel Maddow's show. Now Rachel Maddow's got to work 5 days a week for her millions a year. And this is Comey and talking about what would happen if President Trump became president again.
When you think about a second Trump administration, what do you think the implications would be for the FBI?
Oh, serious, for the Justice Department and the FBI, because Trump is coming for those institutions. He knows their power, and I think he has regrets that he didn't work hard enough to corrupt them last time. So he's coming for them, and that's a danger for all Americans. He's going to put people in positions in those organizations. He didn't have all-stars the last time. He'll have the bottom of the barrel this time, but people who will want to do his will, and that should worry every American. This election matters. Because of a reason like that, people have to participate. You cannot sit on the sideline. I don't care how you feel about Joe Biden, you must vote for him because the consequences on the other side are too severe.
Okay, so, you know, this goes back into, these people are criminally insane. And I've told you guys this many, many times, okay? With this lawfare crowd, of which he's a part of it, this whole operation against our favorite president, Donald Trump, they don't view themselves as criminals. They think they're patriots. They think they're the good guys. They think that they were saving us or trying to save us. Now, I would not say Bongino and Kash Patel are not the bottom of the barrel. They're not even in the barrel. They're outside the barrel and above and beyond anything in a barrel. I mean, they're just the best. But this was panic. This reminds me of when Trump killed the Iran deal and John Kerry was freaking out trying to save the Iran deal because he'd made all these promises to the Iranians and he wasn't delivering. But you can hear the panic in his voice. And this is this the confession? I think this is the confession. Yes. I believe this is yes. Okay, now this, and if you're just tuning in, I will recap all of this after the top of the hour break because I got a lot of stories I'm going to cover on the program today. This is just one but in my opinion, it's the biggest story of the day. I'm not going to sit here and talk about the budget. I'm sorry, guys. What do you say about the budget? That sounds pretty boring. But anyway, this next clip, this is James Comey being interviewed by, I forgot her name. She's on MSNBC in the afternoons. They're moving her to prime time, I believe. No. She's on in the afternoon. She worked the fake Republican that used to work for John McCain. Oh, what is her name? She worked for John McCain. I cannot remember her name to save my life. That's why MSNBC's failing. Okay? I mean, I don't even know their names, right? And I should know their names, and I can't even. They're so out. It doesn't give me her name in the clip. You guys will know her. She worked for John McCain. She's probably the one that was leaking all of the information, all the slanders about Sarah Palin in the first campaign. And she is just a nasty fake Republican. She calls herself a Republican in exile. But anyway, she's sitting down with James Comey, and James Comey actually confesses to this crime. Listen.
You look at this White House now, and it's hard to imagine 2 FBI agents ending up in the sit room. How did that happen?
I sent them.
See? And they think it's funny. I'll play the rest of it. But, that clip right there will be enough to get an indictment in the grand jury. And that Nicole Wallace, by the way, is her name. Somebody in the live chat just told me. Nicole Wallace, yes, that's her name. Despicable person, fake Republican. That not only will that secure an indictment no matter what the investigation finds out, they could get an indictment just with that. But also, this interview, and I'm sure others, will also be used to convict him. He's done so many interviews. I remember during the OJ trial, they were playing interviews that were getting him jammed up.
You look at this White House now, and it's hard to imagine 2 FBI agents ending up in the sit room. How did that happen?
I sent them.
Hear the smugness? Like he's a hero. He's bragging.
You look at this White House now, and it's hard to imagine 2 FBI agents ending up in the sit room. How did that happen?
I sent them. Something I probably wouldn't have done or maybe gotten away with in a more organized investigation, a more organized administration, in the George W. Bush administration, for example, or the Obama administration. In both of those administrations, there was process. And so if the FBI wanted to send agents into the White House itself to interview a senior official, you would work through the White House counsel, and there'd be discussions and approvals and who would be there. And I thought it's early enough, let's just send a couple guys over.
And they were actually girls, we found, but then they have people inside the White House. So he not only is he confessing, but he very well may be talking about another instance. This is amazing what's happening here. Everything that they've done to President Trump these last 10 years is just awful. And once I saw Eric Trump on an interview, he says, my dad's at his best when he's down. And he took these last 4 years and has put together a dream team of all dream teams in the history of dream teams, the best. What he's put together at the Justice Department. Bondi, Kash Patel, and Bongino. This is the best. And they already, these three are very good friends. They're all Florida people. Bondi, Kash Patel, and Bongino. They're all Florida people. They've known each other and socialized together for years now. The three of them, the Attorney General, the Deputy Director, and the Director of the FBI, they're so close, they don't even have to talk verbally to communicate. They know what has to be done. They can communicate with just a look at each other. And this is a very tight team, and they know exactly what they're doing and who they're going after and what they've done. And Comey very well will go to prison over this. Prison. And he's not going to be the only one. A lot of others will too. Now, I want to tell you the free shipping offer continues at MyPillow.com, as well as incredible savings site-wide. You can use our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane, on all the specials at MyPillow.com. Plus, you get free shipping. And there's no minimum order required for that free shipping on all orders, no matter how large, no matter how small. It's free shipping with our promo code Kane at checkout at mypillow.com. And I don't know if I'm sure most of you did. You caught President Trump's speech at CPAC over the weekend. He was praising Mike Lindell like nobody's business. And there's huge specials on some of the most popular products, including the My Pillow, My Slippers. I have these. Steve Kane has them. You will love them. They're so soft, so comfortable, and they're really made for all day wear. They can actually be worn as a shoe. You will love them. They have all kinds of sizes. They have a huge and big and wide sizes for the guys. They have smaller sizes for children and women. They have a whole bunch of colors as well, and a huge discount and free shipping. But there's free shipping on some of the most popular products site-wide. The pet beds, a huge sale on the pet beds. My cats love the pet beds. Our dogs, sadly, that have all passed away, they love the pet beds as well. And again, it's free shipping on all orders, no matter how small the order is. Okay, and that free shipping will disappear without notice. I check it every morning before I go on the air because it may end, and then I'll get the email after the fact that it's over. They are not going to tell me in advance. So use our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane, free shipping site-wide, and incredible discounts throughout the site. You can also order by phone, 1-800-716-4879, 1-800-716-4879. Promo code Kane, Kane. All right? Okay, 1 hour down, 2 to go. Now, after the top of the hour, I am going to recap the Comey story. If you're on hold, hang in there. Your calls are certainly welcome at 1-888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. We'll be back right after this. I'll be back, guys. I got to get my other cup of coffee out of the car because I'm going to need it. I'm almost done with this one. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. It is hour number 2 of Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. I'm going to recap this story because I don't usually do it like this, but this story is so big today that I'm going to do it. It is huge, and I watch everything. Okay, I follow the news everywhere, and I find that the news. At first, I thought they were just overwhelmed by everything going on with Trump, and it's not that they just don't want to cover these things. And Kash Patel's FBI has announced what their first major investigation is going to be, and it's going to be into James Comey. This broke yesterday afternoon, and I'm turning on the news, and what am I hearing? I'm hearing budget battles. And me personally, I find budget battles terminal, okay? I find budget battles to be not just terminal, but incredibly boring, on top of terminal, which is another word for calling it boring. It's the worst of the worst, I'm here to tell you, all right? It's the worst of the worst to talk about budgets. The budget is something you talk about when there's nothing interesting in the news, other than, okay, they got it. This story is the story of the day, and here it is. Washington Times, FBI looking into Comey's off-the-books honeypot operation targeting 2016 Trump campaign. And what I'm going to do that I don't normally do, an hour ago I read through this story. I want to do it again because this story is not being properly covered. It needs to be covered, and it's huge. All right, here it is. FBI leadership is starting an investigation into the origins of the agency's plan a decade ago. It's hard to believe it's been going on for 10 years ago now, to infiltrate the campaign of presidential candidate Donald Trump using 2 female undercover honeypot agents. And again, honeypots are attractive female agents. Sometimes it can be men, but it's mostly women that are brought in to use sex and seduction to get intel from someone. The off-the-books investigation, this was an off-the-books investigation Comey did, which right there makes it illegal. The off-the-books investigation launched in 2015 by then FBI Director James Comey was revealed by an agency whistleblower in a protected disclosure to the House Judiciary Committee last year and was first reported exclusively by the Washington Times in October. And back in October, I did cover this. In the intelligence community, a honeypot commonly refers to an undercover operative, usually a woman, who feigns sexual or romantic interest to obtain information from a target. The whistleblower said 2 female FBI undercover employees, it's interesting it says employees and not agents, infiltrated Mr. Trump's 2016 campaign at high levels and were directed to act as honeypots while traveling with Mr. Trump and his campaign staff. So while we don't know who these women are, I would think that Kash Patel, Pam Bondi, the president, and Deputy Director of the FBI, Dan Bongino, do. But we may know who they are. We may have seen them. We may not have, but they were traveling on Trump Force One, is what this tells us. The Washington Times learned that the Bureau, now led by Director Kash Patel and Deputy Director Dan Bongino, is looking for those once undercover employees under Comey's direction. According to the whistleblower disclosure, which the Washington Times reviewed, the investigation differed from Crossfire Hurricane. Crossfire Hurricane is that fake Russian dossier. That's another crime of Comey's. A later FBI counterintelligence operation that looked into never-proved allegations that the campaign was colluding with Russia. The whistleblower said the early off-the-books criminal investigation targeted Mr. Trump and his staff. Mr. Trump launched his presidential campaign on June 16th, 2015. So we're coming up to the decade of Trump is going to be here in just a few short months, about a year before the FBI opened Crossfire Hurricane. So immediately when President Trump came down the escalator, this honeypot infiltration began shortly thereafter. The whistleblower agent personally knew that Comey ordered an FBI investigation into Mr. Trump and that Comey personally directed it according to the disclosure. The investigation did not appear to target a specific crime, but was more of what agents would describe as a fishing expedition to find anything incriminating against Mr. Trump. The whistleblower said the undercover op was obscured from Justice Department Inspector General Michael Horowitz, who investigated misconduct in the FBI's probe of the Trump campaign. So they kept information from the Inspector General. All these are crimes. The case had no predicted foundation, so Comey personally directed the investigation without creating an official case file in the Sentinel or any other FBI system, according to the whistleblower. The FBI has multiple methods of protecting highly sensitive investigations, so Comey did not have a legitimate reason not to officially create an official investigation file or file number. So these are all more crimes. The disclosure says the secret investigation may have indicated institutional bias at the FBI against Trump, though it does not appear that any information about this investigation was turned over to Trump's criminal defense counsels. The investigation was eventually closed because a major newspaper obtained a photograph of one of the undercovers and was about to publish it. Wow. The FBI informant testified that the FBI contacted the newspaper, got them to kill the story, saying that this was an FBI informant and they would be killed if they went public with this story. But in fact, it was a photograph of an undercover employee of the FBI. Again, they say employee, not agent. The FBI whistleblower noted in his disclosure that one of the undercovers agreed to be transferred to the CIA so she would not be available as a potential witness. The other undercover was rewarded for her activities through a promotion in the FBI and is now a high-level FBI executive in a major field office. The major field offices are New York, Miami, Los Angeles, I don't know, maybe Chicago and Atlanta. But with the break-in of Mar-a-Lago, I wouldn't be surprised if it's Miami. The whistleblower employee observed one or more employees in the FBI being directed to never discuss the operation with anyone ever again, including other people involved in the 2016 Trump campaign infiltration operation. So they all went underground. The FBI employee making the disclosure took his admonishment as a direct threat to the employees who received it. So this is a big story, but the honeypot story was reported in October, but the update is this is the first investigation that Kash Patel has launched. The first one. And it's directed at Comey. And this is the first illegal act taken against President Trump by the government. And my guess is, since this has nothing to do with the dossier, that was another thing they were doing. This operation was fishing expedition, trying to get intel for the Hillary campaign. But also, these honeypots very well may be the ones who put the listening devices at the Trump campaign headquarters at Trump Tower that they found. Remember? So And, I know they're going to tell you in the media, it's what Richie said earlier, that statute of limitations is only 5 years. I'm here to tell you this has been an ongoing crime, that all of it is one big crime. This is not an isolated event. There's been a long-term conspiracy that's been going on since then until now, because they just found last week more listening devices in the president's desk. So I would not say that 5-year statute of limitations applies, because the crime is still continuing. This is a RICO conspiracy that's going on. Okay, if you're on hold, hang in there. We're going to take our first break of the second hour. Show's flying by, and I don't understand why the media is talking about the budget. I understand they got to mention it. Okay, mention it. But don't you think this is the big story of the day? I do. All right, your thoughts are certainly welcome on this. I'm going to get some more audio I want to play involving Comey, and I am going to bring up some other stories, but this is what I believe the top headline story of the day. My name is Brian Craig. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show. We'll be back right after this. Absolutely. If you're on hold, hang in there. Lots to cover. Lots to cover. Oh, man. Oh, I'm so excited. I mean, this is MAGA Christmas. It's just MAGA Christmas. At the bottom, I got to get more coffee. This one's almost done. Callers on hold, stand by. Elon Musk drives a Tesla, and we all love him. Right? Oh. Oh, I'm excited. This is the best. Oh, if you're on hold, hang in there. Oh, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I know you guys are too. MAGA Christmas. If you're on hold, hang in there. We'll be back in 40 seconds. Oh. Okay. 20 seconds. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show. You know what I'm calling this is MAGA Christmas. We got Bongino and Kash Patel and Pam Bondi. So we got this Comey investigation. And then Saturday at noon, Pam Bondi is releasing the Epstein client list. Oh, my goodness. It's just Christmas, man. It's Christmas. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Conservative Doug.
Hey, Doug.
You know, as the Democrats like to say, no one's above the law. You know, this Comey, I'm hoping everything's going to come out, and then Brennan will be next, and cleaning the house and fixing what these people did. You know, they think that they could get away with it, and I think they're all probably flunkies for Obama and doing what he was asking, and we'll soon find out, and it's going to be great to see some results, hopefully.
Yeah. Well, you know, the thing is, Doug, you know, it's in this investigation, the honeypot. This is amazing because I don't know, the more I think about it, I think this is why they're doing it, okay? As I'm talking about it, I'm processing all of this. I mean, this is so exciting. This is the first instance of the government going against Trump, right? The honeypots in the first campaign. So maybe what they're doing is they're going to go through the entire illegal conspiracy against Trump by these people, and they're starting with the first instance, and then next maybe it'll be the dossier, right? But that's definitely what's going on here. They're doing a timeline.
Yeah, you know, I mean, the FBI can have their suspicions about somebody, but they have to go about it legally. And instead, they went about whatever they wanted to do, legally or not, doesn't matter to them. And now they're going to pay the consequences. And we finally got the right guy in there to do it for them. And this is exciting.
You know, yeah, it sure is. All right, hey, Doug, it's good to talk to you. You know, this is an interesting thing because what they were obviously doing was trying to help Mrs. Clinton here. They were actually working with the Clinton campaign, the FBI, right? The next after this was the fake Russian dossier, Crossfire Hurricane. And it's really, the Clintons, I wish we could get the real story from the Clintons. They, you know, both Clintons have new books out, but none of them tell us what's really going on. You know, Monica Lewinsky's all over the news today. She's talking about Bill Clinton, and, you know, her life's been defined by that. The Lewinsky affair was found out by the FBI, okay? The Democrats and the deep state, okay, of someone, okay, there was a divide in the in power circles. Ross Perot was a fake candidate in 1992. Okay, and that was the first presidential election I was old enough to vote in, and I voted for Ross Perot because I thought he was cool that he rescued his employees from the Iranians, and I thought it was cool. They made a movie about him before he ran for president. I knew who he was. But Bill Clinton won, I can't remember off the top of my head, but it was like just 40-some% of the vote, but because it was a three-way race, Bill Clinton won. If Ross Perot was not in the race, George H.W. Bush probably would have been reelected. If you remember, a year or two was the end of the Gulf War. A year or so before that, he had a 91% approval rating. Bush won at the end of the Gulf War, 91%. And George Bush went on a revenge mission after he lost against President Clinton. And George H.W. Bush's revenge was Ken Starr. And Ken Starr used the FBI, and they were investigating that Whitewater land deal. And then they caught Linda Tripp got in touch with them and told them some things. And remember, Linda Tripp told them about Lewinsky, and then they got Lewinsky. They questioned Lewinsky. The FBI, who was, you know, because Ken Starr had FBI agents working for him. And the FBI agents working for Ken Starr, who was the special prosecutor investigating Whitewater, interviewed Lewinsky after Linda Tripp tipped them off, and she lied about her affair with Bill Clinton to the FBI. So they had her on a line to the feds beef. They threatened her with prison. She spilled her guts. And they had the impeachment. and Bill Clinton was impeached. And it really, his presidency was very severely wounded by that. He still got reelected and everything. But the FBI brought down the Clintons with Lewinsky. That was all an FBI operation. And now we find in 2015 that the Clintons and the FBI became a team, and they're proud of it. And I've been, since all this happened with Comey, I've always been very curious to get the story of how the Clintons started working with the FBI that were responsible for damaging him forever with the Lewinsky affair. Wouldn't you like to know the answer to that? It's a lot of drama. All right, so anyway, Comey, and after the bottom of the hour, I'm going to get into some other topics, but you're welcome to call in about this throughout the show. So Comey has been doing non-stop interviews for years, and these interviews, many of them are very indictment. They're going to be used as indictment. This is Comey talking about the return of President Trump to the White House.
You've said that Trump poses a near existential threat to the rule of law. And this is something, similar language that I hear privately from national security officials, some people you and I both know, who will say this privately about what a second term could mean. But tell me a little bit about the specifics of what he could try to do. What do you mean by that?
Well, think about what 4 years of a retribution presidency might look like.
Now, we're going to start to hear a lot of this retribution, revenge, the wrath, Moby Dick. You know, this isn't a retribution. This is justice. We have criminals that have been getting away with crimes for a decade against our favorite president.
He could order the investigation and prosecution of individuals who he sees as enemies. I'm sure I'm on the enemies list. Because the president constitutionally does oversee the executive branch entirely, which includes the Department of Justice, prosecutors and investigators. And so he could direct that individuals be pursued. He could also direct all kinds of other conduct that people would maybe take to court to try to stop. But who enforces court orders? Mm-hmm. Mostly the United States Marshals Service, which is in part of the executive branch and reports to the president. And so President Trump could say, I don't care what the Supreme Court says or these district judges say. I'm telling the Marshal Service, don't enforce the court order. And so our Constitution really does give a rogue president, which is what this would be, tremendous power to destroy. And so that's why I'm trying to warn people. Given the way he said he intends to operate if he's reelected, this will be something we could never have imagined. Again, it seems like science fiction in a way, but it's what another 4 years of Donald Trump really promises, which is why people criticize CNN for their town hall. I want the American people to stare at the threat that we're facing and understand that they cannot take the next election off.
Okay. So, yeah, you can hear the urgency and the panic in all these interviews because Trump was polling so well, they knew. And they're starting to panic because they know what they've done. Now, they do understand, in their sick, twisted mind, again, they don't think they did anything wrong. They think they were saving us. Keep in mind, they think they were saving us, not committing crimes. But I don't think they dreamed of having a team like Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, and Dan Bongino. I thought they figured it would be insiders that were running these agencies, promote within, and all of that. They have got to be, if they were panicked a year ago, 6 months ago, could you imagine how panicked they are today? Because this is coming around. And with Comey, I don't expect loyalty from these people around Comey, in particular these two honeypots. They're going to sing like canaries. And they know who they are. We're going to take our bottom of the hour break. I am going to switch gears a little bit after the bottom of the hour because there's a lot to cover today. But your calls certainly are welcome on this, which I believe is the story of the day. My name is Brian Craig, or at least the main headline story of today is this: Kash Patel's first major investigation against Comey and his crimes. Our number is 888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. We'll be back right after this. Now, guys, the sponsor of today's program is this incredible book, Everyday AI. There's a link pinned in the live chat. It is free on Kindle Unlimited. So if you have Kindle Unlimited, the book's completely free. So if you have Kindle Unlimited, go ahead and download the book. And it's also available for just $2, $1.99 on regular Kindle. If you don't have Unlimited, there's also a paperback version available. And Everyday AI is an easy-to-understand book that explains how non-tech people like me and you can use AI. And I have this book. It's a great book. You'll learn a lot. It'll teach you a lot. And if you have Kindle Unlimited, it's completely free. But if you don't have it, it's just $2 on Kindle, or you can get the paperback version as well. Everyday AI, you can look it up right there on Amazon. But if you're watching live, the link is pinned in the live chat. So order your copy, all right? I'd appreciate their sponsoring today's program. Be right back, guys. I got to freshen up my coffee. Hey guys, welcome back. Okay, we'll be back shortly, guys. Okay. 20 seconds. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show on the radio since 1977. MAGA Christmas continues. It doesn't. I mean, it's amazing. And I tell you, every day when I see President Trump sign these executive orders that turn into press conferences in the Oval Office, I have to pinch myself that he's president again. It is a miracle, and he has this perfect team around him. Now, one of the latest meltdowns they're melting down about everything, the Democrats. I mean, But that the first cabinet meeting is coming up, and Elon Musk is going to be there. Now, of course, in the last administration, we had a junkie crackhead that sleeps with prostitutes and transports them across state lines, which is sex trafficking, Hunter Biden. In not only cabinet meetings, but top secret briefings inside the Oval Office. That didn't bother the media. But having the richest man in the world, Elon Musk, who launches rockets into space for NASA, who's brought America's manned space program back, and has the highest security clearance in the federal government because of his rocket company, SpaceX, that freaks them out. Gee. Maybe if Elon did crack, they wouldn't mind so much. There's a big move from them to get Trump to drop Elon, and it's not going to happen. Now, these cabinet meetings, you never know what Trump's going to do here with Elon Musk, because Elon is not a cabinet member, but he's a special person, and President Trump likes to troll the media. So the media are in this meltdown over Elon being in the cabinet meeting. These cabinet meetings are not private. There's all kinds of people there that aren't cabinet members in every meeting. At the big conference table, you have the president with the entire cabinet, the secretaries. And then along the walls of the room, on chairs up against the wall, other people sit that aren't cabinet members. So chances are Elon would be in one of those chairs up against the wall. However, just to troll the press, it's possible that Trump lets him sit at the big table. And I hope he does, because that'll really freak them out. Okay? That would really freak them out if he's at the table, because he could very well sit at the table with the cabinet to give them a briefing on what Doge has done. And, we very well may find that Doge becomes a government department. If you remember, after 9/11, we didn't have a Department of Homeland Security. So we had a Homeland Security advisor who was acting as a cabinet secretary for a while, but they weren't. And Doge very well could do that. So if he has Elon Musk sitting at the table with the cabinet, that would be the ultimate troll of the media. And of course, the reason they're freaked out is because Elon's going after their money. I mean, the money train is slowed down quite a bit. And they're obsessed with Elon Musk. And I watched President Trump's executive order signing yesterday that turned into a press conference. A lot of it was about Elon and some things. No one asked about the listening devices that were found on in President Trump's desk. President Trump even referenced it. He says, as you know, the other desk is getting remodeled, right? Or something he said, it was getting something done to it. And they still did not ask about who kind of thing. The other thing President Trump did yesterday, because I watched Carolyn Leavitt's press conference, and for the most part, it was uneventful. But she called the press conference for one reason and one reason only. She had a major announcement that came as a shock to the press, because when she announced it, I could hear. And that is that the White House is taking charge of the press briefing room. And this is a big deal. The press mentioned it. They've gone after, there was some discussion last night. They did ask President Trump about it in the Oval Office yesterday. But the way that press briefing room works in past administrations until now, because it'll be run by the White House now, the press corps are in charge of that room, and they decide who has access and where everyone sits. And what the press have been doing, the people that are in the press corps at the White House are really lowlives. They really are for the most part. The ones that have been there all these years from the major fake news media outlets. It is really an awful job for these reporters to have. They're in very tight, close quarters, and all they do is sit around and wait all day, all night, day after day, month after month. And they form a bond. And what happens is the media in that press briefing room, they control the room, they control who sits where. The people that aren't in the club don't even get in the room. And it's kind of like your high school lunchroom. The cool kids get in front and then, get and they decide where everybody else sits and who gets into the party. And if you watch these press conferences, you see how they operate. And yesterday was a textbook example of this. Since they spend so much time in that small space, the scumbag fake news legacy media, they devise ways on how to break the press secretary if it's a Republican. It's very high schoolish. The whole thing's very high schoolish. And if you were watching yesterday, they had a question they kept asking, who's in charge of Doge? And every reporter from the legacy media kept asking that question. And Caroline Leavitt eventually said, I've answered this question 5 times, 6 times, how many times? And what they do is they get together and they decide, okay, because they know who's going to be in there, because they decided until now, we're all going to ask her this question. And it serves a couple purposes. One, they think it can frustrate the press secretary, and they'll get angry and blurt something out that they can use to make them look foolish. Or if every reporter asks a question about the same thing, they create the illusion of scandal in the news cycle. They're trying to create news by doing that. But when Caroline Leavitt said the White House will decide who's in the room and who will sit where, that's big. That is bigger than I think anyone realizes. Because in the press corps, they are freaking out about this. Now, they were talking, they brought this up to President Trump yesterday. He, of course, defended it. He was involved in that decision. He's involved in every decision. These are very smart people. He's very smart. They're running everything brilliantly. And they're treating the media properly. The media, especially the Washington media, they think they're equal to the president. Maybe even bigger, greater than the president. But they think they're at least equal to him. And they're not. But they think they are, and they act with that arrogance that comes with it. Losing control of who's in that room and where they're sitting they don't know how to operate like that. I think the mainstream press, if they're allowed in, should be in the back row. Put some of the newbies up to the front. There are people in there that are there for years that never get a question. Put them up in the front. Put all those famous network people in the back row for a change, or maybe in the middle where it's probably really hot. Or how about put him up against the wall where they make some of, if you notice these new people that they've been bringing in from the alt media, when Caroline Leavitt goes to them, they're all sitting in a chair up against the wall. That's the media's little game. That's the dunce chair. Well, that's over because Caroline Leavitt's going to decide who sits where moving forward. She'll be in charge. Well, the White House does, but she'll be the one in charge of that. So they're not going to be able to play their little games, and it will throw them off. But anyway, on CNN last night, they were calling Trump, this is what they did in the Soviet Union. And Jennings on CNN said, President Trump's taken over 1,000 questions since he's been president again from the press. This is not like Stalin's Russia. There's very free press. But the press are arrogant, and they feel entitled, and they feel in charge, and they feel that they're the ones who set the narratives. That is bigger than anyone realizes. And the media, while it was covered, that's another story they didn't get a lot of coverage to because they're trying to find a workaround. And this all started because of the AP with their arrogance of refusing to call the Gulf of America the Gulf of America. And they made the mistake of taking the White House to court, and they won. The White House won. AP lost. All right. We're going to take our last break. You know what? Before we take the break, let me tell you about Jupiter Joe Thomas. Oh, man, he was in studio yesterday. And we talked about a few things. And one of the things that we talked about with Joe Thomas yesterday is a lot of people think that you got to have hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars to get involved in annuities. And that is just not the case. No matter your situation, call Joe Thomas. Talk to him. You don't have to be rich to get involved in annuities. Now, if you are wealthy, Joe will be glad to help you as well. But you don't have to be. And, you know, if you could use another revenue stream in your retirement, and I think everybody can, annuities, good way to go. You know, there's so many different types of investments, you know, 401ks, IRA, all these things, money markets. I hear people are still even in CDs. I didn't know those were still around. But do any of them guarantee you an income stream in your retirement? Mm-mm. And not only do you have a guaranteed income stream with the annuities, your money is not at risk. That's amazing. We were talking yesterday about Shaq. He's worth $500 million, and he has a boatload of money in annuities because people like Shaquille O'Neal, the uber rich that are smart, they don't risk their principal. They don't risk their big lump of money. They got that revenue stream coming in. It's amazing. And it's a way that Shaquille O'Neal probably with the annuities is setting up a long-term legacy income stream for his family. Give Joe Thomas a call. It's a free consultation. No matter where you're located, you can take advantage of this free phone consultation. Give him a call, and Joe Thomas will put together a custom proposal just for you and your situation. His number is 561-743-0999. 561-743-0999. 561-743-0999. And if you missed the number, go to his website. It's easy to remember, jupiterjoe.com. jupiterjoe.com. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show. We'll be right back. Okay.
Are you tired?
Discover your aware.
All right, we'll be back in just a few seconds, guys. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. The news is just going nuts. I got some other stories I'm going to get into, but after the top of the hour, I'm going to recap the big story of the day, which I did at the top of the hour at 6 and the top of the hour at 7. And I don't normally do that so much, but this story was so huge it has to be done, the Comey story. But there's a couple other things I wanted to share. This is Vindman, he was in a panic. Remember, he was one of the guys that went to the USAID office in a panic. And this is Vindman on MSNBC yesterday. Listen, he's talking about President Trump.
Up is down, down is up. We're no longer the good actor. We no longer believe in the same values we did just a month ago. So it's.
I like how Vindman's talking for America.
Wonder, I'm not big into conspiracies because I've seen government as a leaky sieve. Things just don't stay secret. But now I'm starting to wonder: what does Putin have on Trump that he's willing to bend over so hard to bend over backwards to really support Putin's agenda? It doesn't make a huge amount of sense. He's not getting anything for it right now. He's giving away the farm. I'm not sure what kind of deals he's making where he's giving everything that his opponent wants, nothing in return, maybe the promise, the dangle of something in the future, but he's not getting anything. He's voting against Ukraine, our allies in NATO. He's calling Zelensky a dictator. He's glad-handing and saying he's going to visit Putin at the Kremlin. This is just surreal and very, very down.
Okay, so there's Vindman in a panic. Now let me ask you: when President Reagan went to Moscow, did he go to the Kremlin? I don't remember. Does anyone remember? President Reagan went to Moscow when he was president. Did he go to the Kremlin? Okay. This is one that really, really burns me. Okay, here you've got President Trump on the verge of ending a war in Europe before it spirals out of control. As so far as giving Putin everything he wants, the only thing I've heard him say is that he wants them to have an election in Ukraine. And doesn't everyone want to have an election in Ukraine? Well, not everyone. Zelensky doesn't, and he is a dictator because his term of president is over. And he suspended elections, as well as there's no freedom of the press in Ukraine. He also shut down the Russian Orthodox Church, so there's no freedom of religion in Ukraine. So if you don't have freedom of religion, freedom of the press, no freedom of speech because the press is not free, and you don't have elections, you might be a dictator. Okay? Remember that? You might be a redneck. And I certainly think that's the instance here with Zelensky. What else Putin wants, I don't know. But I hear these people on the left and in the media so upset that this war is going to end. Yesterday in that Oval Office meeting, there were a lot of questions, and they're always asking Trump, is Putin a dictator? Who started this war? Who cares who started it? Who cares if they're both dictators? What difference does that make? Don't you want the people to stop dying over there? And Vindman says Trump's not getting anything out of it. Yeah. He's getting the satisfaction that he's saving lives of people on both sides who will not die because the war will be over. I look through these, most wars, if you look at them in American history, not all, but most of them could have been avoided. The war in Iraq, the war in Vietnam, even the war in Afghanistan. And I'm not saying that one should have been avoided, but what I mean is after 9/11, you mean to tell me we couldn't get bin Laden without a full military invasion that lasted over about 20 years? Come on. Most every war we've been involved in is avoidable, and they've only happened because people get rich off of wars. That's it. And I don't understand now Vindman is, he was born in the Soviet Union. His family came here when he was a baby. So I don't know about this guy. I don't trust him. I don't trust his brother. They really seriously need to be looked at. All these people, now he was in the military, but most of these people, certainly the ones in the press, that are constantly wanting to prolong this war in Europe and even expand it, really is what they want. You know, they're not over there fighting. Russians are fighting, Ukrainians are fighting, Koreans are fighting for Russia, and God knows who else. There are American mercenaries over there that are fighting, and maybe mercenaries from other countries too, I don't know. And I don't know how many of the foreign mercenaries, including our own, have died fighting in Ukraine, but who is against ending a war? There's no situation where a country as large and as powerful with a nuclear arsenal as Russia is going to be defeated to a point that will satisfy these warmongers, which is exactly what they are. In fact, when President Trump ends this war, he should get the Nobel Peace Prize. Maybe he'll get 2 of them for what he's doing in Gaza, too. And Vindman, I don't know, I don't understand why they don't point out that he was from the Soviet Union. He was born in the Soviet Union. You know, you don't think there may be something going on with this guy with that kind of background? Maybe, I don't know. But somebody that was born in the Soviet Union to find their way now in Congress, before with the NSA, with high security clearances, how does someone with that kind of background, who's overweight, make his way up through the military and get into the positions he was in? I don't know, but it's certainly curious to know, aren't you? So, no, the war is going to end, and who cares if Putin's happy when it's over? Don't you want the people to stop dying? What's the point? So what if he gets a little bit of Ukraine? So what? It's not a little bit of a country that matters. And so far as what Trump's getting out of it, of course, you know, saving lives, that's something he's getting out of it, but also saving boatloads of money from the United States. You know, so much of the inflation we're suffering from right now is a direct result of Ukraine. We've been giving them unlimited money. We're funding the entire country. It's been going on for years now. So it'll help get our economy and lower inflation. I mean, on a more selfish level, beyond saving the foreign lives that'll be saved from it. But they don't want the war to end. They want it to go on for years. They want it to expand it. It is not a coincidence that immediately after the war in Afghanistan finally ended and we pulled out, that this one started. Believe me, that's not a coincidence. Now, yesterday, I was telling you all, I was so overwhelmed by how many of you came out to Attorney Barry Siegel's Revocable Living Trust estate planning workshop yesterday. It was a huge crowd, and I was really moved by it. I really was. And, you know, we do a lot of appearances, and you know, we get great, you know, but this one here, I was not expecting such a large turnout, and because we had just had this event on Inauguration Day, a little more than a month ago at Wings Plus. It was standing room only at Wings Plus. And to do this on a Tuesday morning at 10 a.m. And a Revocable Living Trust workshop, it's, you know, and it was a big room and it was packed. There were no empty chairs. There weren't enough chairs. So I want to thank all of you who showed up and supported me and the show, and of course, Attorney Barry Siegel and the Siegel Law Group. It was greatly appreciated by Barry Siegel and his law firm, and me as well. But a lot of people that were there told me how much weight I've lost. And, you know, in the old days of radio, no one knew what you look like. But now with the internet and everything, everybody, they maybe never met you before, but they know what you look like. And so many people told me how much weight I've lost. They've heard me talking about it, and they said, I got to call Coastal Weight Loss Secret too. I said, yeah, I'm going to give you the number in a moment and their website. Give them a call. When you call Coastal Weight Loss Secret, make sure you tell them you heard about them on the True Oldies channel. One lady, she put her hands on my cheeks and said, wow, look at the definition in your face, Brian. And then she put her hand, She put her hand on my stomach and said, look how flat your stomach is now, Brian. She says, you were getting a little bit of a pot belly there. And, hey, listen, you know, I'm over 50 now. I don't exercise. And all this weight that I've lost it with zero exercise. And I'm not taking any medication, okay? I'm not on Ozempic or anything, and I wouldn't recommend you all do that. So give Coastal Weight Loss Secret a call. Set up an appointment. Meet with Dr. Zuckerman. And do what I've done, lose weight. And, you know, the thing about losing weight, this is the first real diet I've ever been on. The only thing I've been on before is, I'm not going to have any candy bars this week or something, you know. I'm going to skip McDonald's. I've never really been on a weight loss plan before. I've never tried really to lose weight before. And if I would have known how great I would feel after, I would have done this a long time ago. I have so much more energy. I feel so much better. I'm going hours and hours longer than I've ever gone in my life. I've never felt so good, and it's because I got that weight off. And I'm still losing. You know, I've about reached my goal. My goal was 25 pounds by March 30th. That's the day we leave on the cruise. I'm almost to that now. I got maybe 2 or 3 pounds to go, and I've hit the 25. So I'm going to keep going. I'm feeling great. So give Coastal Weight Loss Secret a call. Here's the number: 561-247-6300. 561-247-6300. That's 561-247-6300. And online, coastalweightlossecret.com. coastalweightlossecret.com. Again, make sure you tell them you heard about them on the True Oldies channel. All right, 2 hours down, 1 hour to go. What an exciting day. It's MAGA Christmas, people. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show. We'll take our top of the hour break and be back after this. Hello? All right. Okay, okay. All right, hold on. Okay, I'm gonna put you, yeah, okay, hold on, and I'm gonna pick you up. Hold on. All right, you there, Steve?
Yes, I'm here.
All right, we got about 30 seconds, all right? So stand by. Everybody can hear you, so keep that in mind.
All right.
All right.
Looks promising.
Yeah, sounds better, too, by the way. Okay, 25 seconds. Did you have any work? I got good stuff here, so.
Yeah, go.
All right. I'll get right to it. Okay. All right, 10 seconds. Stand by. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show on the radio since 1977, celebrating 48 years on the radio. Steve, you with us?
I am with you Yes, I am.
Okay, see, I told you we figured out what the issue was the other day. Today is MAGA Christmas. It really is. I mean, it's been Christmas since Trump won, and then it was Christmas again on Inauguration Day. But we're in MAGA Christmas. Have you heard I've been talking about it for 2 hours, but this new story with Comey is so big and so perfect and so beautiful. This is Christmas today like I never have. And I wanted to...
Bring me up to speed real quick.
Well, I want to recap the story, and I've recapped it at the top of every hour today because the media are not really covering this story, and they're certainly not putting it in its proper perspective. And then when the few times they do, they try to tell you how it's a waste of time, okay? Now, Comey, I have believed for a long time since, that Comey has been the ringleader or part of the leadership team that's been doing everything against Trump these last 4 years, okay?
I think that's not news, right, though?
Well, what I'm getting to is I'm setting the stage. I'm setting the stage for the new thing.
I love it. Go ahead.
I'm setting the stage. It's not news. Oh my God! You're like talking to Richie, Steve.
I'll take that as a compliment. Richie's a great guy.
I learned how to do this from somebody that taught me pretty good. So you should trust me a little bit more.
I trust.
No, but Comey, when Comey was fired by President Trump, you got to understand, this was a unheard of event, and it was also done in a humiliating way for Mr. Comey. I did not know this until Trump fired Comey. When an FBI director is appointed by a president, they are appointed to a 10-year term as director of the FBI, 10 years. Kash Patel right now has got a 10-year term ahead of him. Now, the next president can fire him, but they typically don't, okay? And that's why sometimes FBI directors are through different administrations from the different parties because they got that 10-year term. So when Comey was fired, he may have been the first FBI director ever fired, and Trump did it when he was in Los Angeles at a speaking event. He was speaking to a group in Los Angeles, and the story broke on CNN while Comey was speaking to the group. He didn't even know.
I sort of remember that.
And and everybody that was listening to him speak got the breaking news on their cell phone. Comey has no idea, and he's wondering why he's losing the audience. Because he's no longer the FBI director. So he gets off stage and finds out he's no longer the FBI director. So then he has to fly back to Washington on the FBI plane, no longer the FBI director. I mean, it's humiliating. And he deserved it. And since then, he's been on a revenge tour. But he was the lead against President Trump prior. So we've got this incredible team of Pam Bondi as the Attorney General, FBI Director Kash Patel, and Deputy Director of the FBI, Dan Bongino. And they have announced what their first major investigation is going to be. And that's the breaking news that I'm going to get to. Now, by the way, this is not what Pam Bondi, on noon on Saturday, at high noon Eastern Time, on Saturday, Pam Bondi is releasing the Jeffrey Epstein client list. That is not the breaking news. Okay? This is the breaking news, and I'm going to go through this story again because the details of this story are so good. This is MAGA Christmas. FBI, of course, that's Patel, FBI looking into Comey's off-the-books honeypot operation targeting the 2016 Trump campaign. And they have a whistleblower. FBI leadership, and again, that's Kash Patel and Bongino, FBI leadership is, and this is Kash Patel's and Dan Bongino's first investigation. FBI leadership is starting an investigation into the origins of the FBI's plan a decade ago to infiltrate the campaign of presidential candidate Donald Trump using two female undercover honeypot agents. So they have two hotties. Comey sends them over there, and which he later confessed to. And after the break, I'll play you Comey's confession to this, okay? The off-the-books investigation. Now, keep in mind, Comey sent 2 undercover agents to sexually seduce top campaign officials with Trump's campaign. So he did it off the books of a presidential candidate. That's huge crime right there. The off-the-books investigation was launched in 2015 by then FBI Director James Comey. This was revealed by an FBI agency whistleblower in a protected disclosure in the House Judiciary Committee last year and first reported exclusively by the Washington Times in October. In the intelligence community, a honeypot refers to an undercover operative, usually a female, who feigns sexual or romantic interest to obtain information from a target. So we sent in some hotties to seduce some people in the Trump campaign. The whistleblower said 2 female FBI undercovers infiltrated Mr. Trump's 2016 campaign at high levels and were directed to act as honeypots while traveling with Mr. Trump and his campaign staff. So they made it. They're flying around on Trump Force One, and they're sleeping with, we don't know who they're sleeping with, but high-level people in the campaign. The Washington Times has learned that the FBI, now led by FBI Director Kash Patel and Deputy Director Dan Bongino, is looking for those once undercover employees under Comey's direction. But they know who they are. Okay? According to the whistleblower's disclosure, which the Washington Times reviewed, the investigation differed from Crossfire Hurricane. Crossfire Hurricane is the dossier, the Russian dossier. That's another crime of Comey's. This is different, okay? This is not that, okay? Mr. Trump launched his presidential campaign on June 16th, 2015, when he came down the escalator, about a year before the FBI opened the dossier Russian fake case. The whistleblower agent personally knew that Comey ordered an FBI investigation into Mr. Trump and that Comey personally directed it, according to the whistleblower. These are all major crimes, people, of unheard of levels. The investigation did not appear to target a specific crime, but was more about what agents would describe as a fishing expedition to find anything incriminating against Trump. The whistleblower said the undercover operation was obscured from Justice Department's Inspector General Michael Horowitz, who investigated misconduct in the Bureau's probe of the Trump campaign. So they hid this evidence from the Inspector General. More crimes. The case had no foundation, so Comey personally directed the investigation without creating an official case file or registering it in the FBI system. Okay? The whistleblower's disclosure says the secret investigation may have indicated institutional bias at the FBI against Mr. Trump. You think so? It appears that
Mr. Trump.
Yeah. It does not appear that any information about his investigation was turned over to Trump's criminal defense counsels in these later cases. The investigation was eventually closed because a major newspaper obtained a photograph of one of the undercover women and was about to publish it in the newspaper. But the FBI press office told the news outlet that the photograph was an FBI informant who would be killed if the photograph was released. So they're saying Trump would have had her killed. In fact, it was a photograph of the FBI undercover working for Comey, one of the two. The FBI whistleblower, is an FBI employee, noted in the disclosure that one of the undercovers agreed to be transferred to the CIA so she would not be available as a potential witness. The other undercover honeypot was rewarded for her activities through a promotion in the FBI and is now currently a high-level FBI executive in a major field office. The whistleblower observed one or more employees in the FBI being directed to never discuss the operation with anyone ever again, including other people involved in the campaign infiltration operation. The FBI employee making his disclosure took the admonishment as a direct threat to anyone who received it. So this is big, okay? And what I as I've been going through and coming up, I'll play you Comey's confession on national television to doing this coming up in a minute after the break. This is the first lawfare against Trump. And I'm guessing that these honeypots, we may know who they are because we've seen them, because they were obviously working on the campaign, and they were with at least two men that were senior people in the campaign. So we may know who they are. In fact, one of them or both could have even become well-known conservative influencers. Who knows? Or we may have, I would imagine we've at least seen them in the background watching the first campaign, but it's been 10 years. This is the first instance of lawfare against Trump. Kash Patel and Dan Bongino and Attorney General Pam Bondi, all Floridians, by the way, have launched this as their first investigation. And I'm thinking that they're going to be investigating everything, and they're putting together a timeline of 10 years of lawfare against Trump. This is the first instance. This is a massive story. Now, they're going to now what the media are trying to spin this and saying, well, 10 years, statute of limitations have expired. The statute of limitations is 5 years on these federal crimes unless there's sex or murder. None of that, a sex crime or murder. I don't know if there's not a sex crime. These men were sexually assaulted by people, okay? They were seduced. That's a sex crime. But I don't think this is an isolated crime. All the lawfare is one big criminal RICO conspiracy. So I don't think the statute of limitations has run out. This is still going on. They just found listening devices in Trump's desk last week, right, in the Oval. These two women, one or both of them, probably planted the listening devices in Trump's campaign headquarters at Trump Tower during the first campaign. That's probably how they did it. So this is big, Steve. I mean, this is... And every 5 minutes, Trump's breaking news. I get it. But this is the big story of the day, and the media are sitting on it. Now, when we get back, I'm going to play you Comey Confess This on national television. And he also gave us and he also copped to another crime that I didn't even know about in the same interview. So I'll share that when we get back, all right? Okay, our number is toll-free. I'd like to hear your thoughts on that. This is amazing. This is MAGA Christmas, man. This is all year long MAGA Christmas right here. 1-888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call no matter where you're listening. 888-465-2631. I'm Brian Craig. Steve Kane is here. We'll be right back. Steve, you there?
Yes, I am.
Right, stand by.
Hello?
Yep, stand by. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. Steve Kane, of course, is here. You're listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. I want to tell everyone about the free doorbell camera offer from Sloman's. Obviously, the doorbell camera is a great part of your security system at home, right? You get a notification on your cell phone anytime there's movement at your door, no matter where you are, at the grocery store or in another country. But what I use it, I don't have people breaking into my house every day, but I have people come into my house. Sometimes they're door-to-door salesmen and, these solicitors, or sometimes it's Amazon delivery or DoorDash. And as soon as there's movement at my door, I know they're there before I know it. And it's so nice to never have to get up to see who's at the door. No matter where I am, at the back porch, indisposed in the bathroom, I got the notification and I can see who's there. And it's really a great convenience as well as part of the home security system. And you can get a doorbell camera for free that connects directly to your cell phone too with the installation of your Sloman Shield. Sloman's is also going to give you a free customized home security system and professional installation when you use their low-cost central station monitoring. You get an LED touchscreen, a motion detector, 10 contacts, a lifetime warranty, and a backup battery, plus a free doorbell camera with the installation of your Sloman Shield. Give them a call no matter where you're located. Take advantage of this. 1-800-ALARM-ME. 1-800-ALARM-ME. That's 1-800-ALARM-ME. Okay, so then, Steve, Comey was in a panic. You back with us, Steve?
Yeah, I'm with you.
See, I told you guys, we figured out what the problem was. If I told you guys, I'm not going to tell you guys what the technical problem we had was because it's too embarrassing. Okay, don't worry about it. Just it's fixed. That's all you need to know. But that's what happens. Simple things.
Work.
Yeah, simple things. It's always the simplest. You're trying to look for this big problem. It's a little thing. Comey did a whole series of interviews, okay, over the last year during the campaign. He was in a panic that Trump was coming back, right? And in these interviews, I'm not going to play the clip. I played them earlier. I'm not going to play the clips anymore. I'll just tell you guys what he said. He said a lot of things, all of them in hysterics. But he copped to this, and he also had two guys that were inside the White House. He mentioned men. He had two FBI agents inside the Trump White House in the first term, on top of this. And at that...
spying on Trump?
Spying on President Trump while he was president of the United States. The honeypots, he was just a candidate. Then he bragged to Nicole Wallace from MSNBC that he had two FBI agents inside the White House. Now that Trump was president, now that's treason. The honeypots aren't treason. There's a lot of crimes there, but the spies in the White House that he sent to infiltrate, that he was bragging that he sent in there, that's treason because he's the president now, right? And you're trying to undermine the president of the United States. That's treason. So I'm here to tell you that this is all one big crime. Statute of limitations has not run out. It still continues. And the Trump administration, they're not playing games, Steve. I mean,
well, is what you're saying, let me just put a cap on what you just finished saying. Is what you're saying that Kash has made an announcement that they're reopening all this can of worms today?
Not reopening. This is it. They're investigating it now. The investigation is happening. They leaked it out yesterday afternoon. Kash Patel is.
Comey made any comment?
Oh no! Are you kidding me? No. I don't know. Look for him in Brazil. I don't know. Brazil
couldn't have been a nicer guy.
Oh yeah. I mean, but no, no, of course he's not. But Kash Patel didn't have a press conference. They leaked it out yesterday.
I got you.
And this came out yesterday afternoon. And to show you the media on this, there's really no coverage. And there's a lot of news that's going on with President Trump constantly. I get that. But every day there's big stories. The big story is not the budget. The budget is a time-killing story. Okay, we got to get through our news cycle. The budget. Once you say it, what do you say? What is this? They're talking about accounting? You know what I mean? It's terminal, okay? There's nothing to say there. This is the big story of the day. And I believe that Comey is either the ringleader or one of a small team of ringleaders that have been running all the operation against President Trump all these years.
Well, that wouldn't be any shock at all. I mean, Comey, we knew he was a bad guy to begin with.
Well,
so
yeah,
it's exciting.
And I suspect that the reason it took so long to confirm Kash Patel is they were trying to destroy as much evidence as they could at the FBI.
Yeah.
But that's not going to work. Now Saturday at noon, Pam Bondi is releasing the Epstein client list. Okay? And I don't know if you know how she's doing this, and if you guys know in the audience, if she's announced how she's doing it, let me know. But I don't know if she's just going to release it or if she's going to have a press conference.
Well, let me ask you, what was to be accomplished by that?
I
That
think
seems
the
a
Epstein client list is going to be anticlimactic. I don't expect a list.
Why is she even bothering with it? It seems irrelevant.
Because it's a
given all
promise
the
she
other
made.
Stuff that's going on.
There's hold on, Steve. Just give me a sec. Okay. Sorry about that. There you go. Okay, I got you. You back with us, Steve? Now hold on. Okay. Okay. Now there you are, Steve. I apologize.
Okay.
There's two reasons Pam Bondi is doing this. One, she promised she would do it. Okay. And yesterday Pam Bondi slipped up. She had a little slip up yesterday, Pam Bondi on TV. And I love Pam Bondi. She's not Trump, so I can criticize Pam. She made a mistake yesterday. She was sitting next to the president, and she talked about taking people's guns. Did you see that? So
I didn't see it.
Yeah, she was talking about taking guns away. She was talking about taking guns away from people accused of crimes and abuse, and stuff like this. But she actually used the term more than once: "Take the guns away," and that was, she's listen. She's a Florida girl. She's not used to the national level, and she's a little rusty. Give her. So, but she promised to release the Epstein list, and as soon as she mentioned she was going to do it Saturday at noon, that "take the guns away" thing disappeared. And I could tell President Trump was sitting next to her, and I could tell he was pissed when she said it. He was like, "What are you thinking? What are you thinking? You know what they're going to do with that?" But he didn't call her out on it when he was sitting next to her, but I could tell he was not happy with it. But I think the list will be anticlimactic because it's just a list of names. They're not listing.
Well, it depends who's on it.
If they were to release the P. Diddy list now, that'd be a whole nother story. There may be names on it we haven't heard that are famous people, but
Well, I don't even know why Cash is mucking about with it.
well, this is because they promised to do it because it was really almost a campaign promise. It may have even been a campaign promise of President Trump's releasing the Epstein list. So at the very least there's an expectation that, and it should be released. But the reason I say that it's going to be anticlimactic, it's just a list of names. It's not going to be a list of names with a corresponding video that Jeffrey Epstein took of them having sex with people. You understand what I mean? So
I understand, but it depends who the names are.
That is true. That is true. It depends on who the names are. And then what the media does with it, like let's say Bill Clinton is on the list, right? Will the press try to ask President Clinton about it? Now if they would chase it, if the press would go out and start chasing these people down in the streets, "You're on the Jeffrey Epstein list that was just released today. Any comment, Mr. Gates?" Then I'd be, that'd be exciting. But I don't think the press is going to do that. Mr. President Clinton, your name is on the Jeffrey Epstein list that was just released by the Attorney General. Any comment, Mr. President Clinton? Then I'd be excited. But I don't think the press are going to do that. But I'm glad she's doing it. I would like the list should be released because what he was doing was terrible and he was wielding a lot of power. So it'll come out. All right, now listen, we're going to take our break for the bottom of the hour. If you're on hold, hang in there. There's some other things we got to talk about as well, and we'll take some of your calls as well. If you'd like to call in, I got to tell you, MAGA Christmas is the best way to describe how I'm feeling right now. I am so excited. Trump's president again. Kash Patel and Dan Bongino are running the FBI. Their first investigation is into the first crime against Trump committed by Comey. I mean, what more could you ask for? This is like a dream come true. Our number is toll free. 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. We'll be back right after this. Steve, you there?
Yes, I think so.
Okay, we got 2 minutes. We're back in 2 minutes.
Okay. You're going to go to the phones?
I am, yeah. Everybody can hear you in the YouTube chat, so get used to that. Just in case. Not that we would say anything you guys can't hear, but always got to give people a warning. You never know. $90 seconds. All right, 1 minute. We'll be back in 1 minute on the air.
1 minute.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Comey must be freaking out. Unless he's... Oh, my gosh. All right. This is our bottom of the hour break on the radio.
Yeah, here too.
All right, 30 seconds. I've been talking so much, my tongue is sore. I'm like a street walking prostitute. My mouth works more than that. All right, here we go. Here we go. 10 seconds. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest running radio show. Steve Kane here with us. You with us, Steve?
Yes, I am. Can I just ask you one thing? I've summed this up in my mind. I want to make sure I got it right. Is the bottom line of what you said in the last segment that the present investigation is now centered on Comey?
Yes.
The object of the investigation?
Well, not only that, yes. He is the, what do they call it? The subject of the investigation? Yes.
Yes.
And there's a couple things about it. Not only is Comey the subject of the investigation, This is the first investigation that Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, and Bongino have put together. And
they made it the first.
Yes,
right?
they made it the first. And it's also in the timeline of the illegal lawfare against Trump. The honeypots was the first time they committed a crime against Trump in the first campaign. So it looks to me that they're starting with the first instance, and they're going to have a whole series of these that probably go up to the desk with the bugs in it last week at the White House in the Oval Office.
The honeypot implies to me, I'm just double checking this to see if my perception is right. The honeypot term implies to me that it was something sexual with Trump.
Not with Trump, with campaign officials. They had two women seduce or at least get romantically involved without sex to two high-ranking members of the Trump campaign, not Trump.
I remember there was a story. I'm texting my memory because it goes way back. But there was an investigation that was going to determine. Oh, darn it! Comey. I remember Comey came out of a meeting and to ask Trump if he wanted him to make it go away.
Yeah, that was the dossier. That was the Russian dossier.
Okay.
That's often referred to as crossfire hurricane. That's another crime. This is not that. This is before that. This happened before the dossier was the first was the honeypots. And I think the honeypots probably put the listening devices at the campaign headquarters at Trump Tower because they were there. They were flying around with the campaign. And then the next instance was the dossier, which they refer. Anytime you hear them say crossfire hurricane, that means it's the Russian dossier with the fake Russia collusion with the campaign story. Remember, they had that. They had the fake dossier that Hillary had done up with Christopher Steele, and then they had that.
You're telling me they're about to open a criminal case on Comey?
It's done. It's happened. It just leaked out yesterday. Yes, he is under FBI investigation for the honeypot story. First one. That's the first instance. Yes.
Wow. Well, that's what you need.
That's
Let's
right.
take calls.
Yeah. All right. If you're on hold, hang in there. We're going to go to the phones right now. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yes. Good morning. I am so glad to hear that.
What's your name and where are you calling from?
Oh, I'm so sorry. Tom from Florida. I'm just so happy that we just move on from everything. The past is the past, and we worry about the American people in the future. I mean, I'm so glad that we're not going back in time and settling all these petty scores.
Petty?
Thank God.
Petty scores? So this is interesting. So let me ask you. You said going back in time.
You're being sarcastic.
No.
You're being sarcastic.
Oh, you're trying to employ humor?
You think it's okay? You think it's okay to do secret investigations of the president?
Hey, Steve, can I ask you a question? Do you think that it should be the first order of business?
I'm not paid to make those decisions. I trust the people.
Of course you're not, because I love it when you guys ask me a question and you guys go, "Oh my God, you're not answering the question." But then when I ask something, you guys beat around.
Oh, I'll answer it. My answer is yes. This is yes. I am so glad that Kash Patel and Bongino have made this their first order of business.
I'm just happy.
Yes.
I'm just happy that that they're taking.
What?
You're not happy at all. Why you're a liar? Why are you saying you're happy when you're miserable? You can hear it in your voice.
Well, you're miserable. First of all, I'm not miserable. I'm not miserable.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're miserable.
I am just concerned, and I'm an American citizen who doesn't think his taxpayers should.
Hey Tom, I got a question for you. If they sent a honeypot, to seduce you for some purpose, would they have to send a man or a woman as the honeypot? I'm just curious. I'm asking for a
question.
Actually,
you gotta go.
It doesn't have an answer.
I prefer.
Taking the fifth. You prefer?
I prefer. Yes, I prefer. You ready? None of your business.
None of our business? Oh my goodness! So they can send anybody, any gender? Okay. So you're bi. So you're bi. You're bisexual. So you're bi. So you're. No, hold on. Tom, you're bisexual.
Oh my God, Brian, let's say I prefer a trans dog. Okay, there's your answer.
Okay. Well, thank you for
Now
your
let's
call.
get back to-
Let's get back to the planet Earth, as you would say, Steve.
There.
Oh my goodness. That's one of the best questions I've ever asked a caller, I think. I should get an award for that. That was a great question. That's a great question. You think those no talents that they replaced Rush with would think of that question? I don't think so. Hold on, let me get this. Steve, our phones. Oh, hold on. Our phones are. Oh, hold on, I lost it. Our phones are ringing off the hook, Steve. I don't know if it was my question to Tom.
It must have been something we said.
Oh my goodness. That's an easy question. Oh my goodness. All right. Let's take some more calls. Let's go. All right. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Brian from Deerfield.
Hey, Brian. Oh my goodness. Poor Tom. I almost feel bad.
You know, what's interesting, some of these cases, I remember watching this in real time when Comey, I think the speaking engagement might have been on the West Coast or something, and there were questions he got fired during the speech, and there's questions how he was even going to get home from the speech. Because
That's right.
The FBI director have his own plane.
He'd have to buy a ticket. He'd have to buy a ticket. The FBI plane's not his anymore.
Yes, and they were tracking. The press was tracking him down in the airport as he was trying to get a ticket home.
Oh, beautiful.
But you talk about going after the head of the snake. I think so. I think this is a big play, and this is going to be major. And the honeypot, I think that's got legs to it. Now we're going to see the internal workings of this attack on the presidential campaign.
Well, here's the thing. I don't believe, because what they're trying to spin this as, oh, well, that was 10 years ago. Statute of limitations 5. I don't agree with that. This has been all one long crime that was continuing even last week when they found bugs in the president's desk, listening devices in the Resolute desk last week. So it's one long-term RICO crime that's been going on here.
Isn't RICO really the key word here? Because an ongoing criminal enterprise is taking place. I mean, that's I think the major thing here. I remember Trump maybe a month ago saying maybe we should bring this RICO Act into here. This has got a lot of legs to it, and this could really. This could be something much bigger than we. I'm curious who the honeypots were. I'm not sure who.
We may know them. One of them could even be a well-known conservative influencer at this point, or a former conservative influencer that's no longer out there. But we may not. But it's possible.
Yeah.
The one in particular that's with the CIA now. This woman could be a very famous conservative influencer today. It's possible.
That's what I'm thinking. Somebody very well known, and
I hope it is.
That would be an investigation. That would really be in the public, and because they could be titillating, then, and they'd really be fascinated by it. But Comey, do you remember that scene when Trump had his hand out to Comey, and he was in the Oval Office, and he had to make him walk all the way over, and Comey was like walking on eggshells or something, like he was embarrassed to even greet the president. This, well, I don't want to say what goes around comes around, but this is, I think, going to be a major investigation. Now, are some of these people on the Epstein list too? Some people who we're going to be very, very surprised about, big major political figures.
But a list is, if it was a list with like a video or phone calls and conversations and things. It's not, a list of names is going to be anticlimactic. I think a lot of people have put so much into this list, and I think you're going to be let down.
It depends who the names
what if the list is just
That's
the
true.
first step?
If the Pope's on the list, that would be shocking.
And then they had the videos to follow. That would be a shocker. I
don't think, and I would think the videos still exist to use as blackmail against these famous people.
Yes.
They're part of the J. Edgar Hoover funds.
You wonder if Epstein still exists.
That's true. You never know.
I wonder.
Well,
That's right.
the other day, Megyn Kelly said her sources are telling her we may even hear from Epstein.
Really?
Himself, she said.
Holy mackerel.
So that could either mean that he's still alive, or there's some video of him.
Yeah.
That's what she said.
There's no more boring moments now. The news cycle is every 5 minutes.
MAGA Christmas.
Amazing.
It's MAGA Christmas, man.
MAGA Christmas forever.
MAGA, for 4 years at least. All right, take care. Thanks for the call.
Have a great weekend.
You too. All right, I'm going to put you on hold, Steve. We'll be right back. Hey there, hold on. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. It's time to check in with William Youngerman from the offices of William Youngerman Incorporated with the Morning Gold and Precious Metals Report. William Youngerman, how the metals looking?
The metals are looking lower this morning after yesterday's big push lower, a correction that we've been waiting for quite a while, actually, giving us a great buying opportunity yesterday as we saw many Steve Kane listeners take advantage of dips as they have truly learned to do. Yesterday, gold trading in a range of $28.85 all the way up to $29.55, closing out the day down $39.10 at $2,914.20 the ounce. Certainly above the 29 support, but 2,900 did get breached yesterday momentarily as we got down to $2,885. Still not bad when you consider the all-time record high is right around that $29.55. So we're not that far off of the highs, but it's certainly any kind of pullback is a buying opportunity these days. Silver yesterday down 63 cents at $31.69 the ounce. Platinum gaining $2 at $9.68, and palladium was down $10 at $9.14. Overnight, we saw gold trade in a range of $29.05 to $29.31. Right now, we're at $2,910 the ounce. That's down $4.20. Silver basically unchanged at $31.70 the ounce. Platinum up $1 at $9.69, and palladium up $7 at $9.21. So gold's still holding basically above $2,900 and pretty close to the all-time record highs. But like I said, any kind of little pullbacks is about all we've seen in this market as it's continued to make new highs.
Absolutely. Let me ask you, because with these prices, we give gold prices out in the ounce, of course. That's how it's done. Are a lot of people picking up fractional gold now with these great prices?
Yes, there's a trend towards that. With gold at these levels, a lot of people can't afford to just go in an ounce at a time, so they come in and they buy a half ounce or a quarter ounce, and we sell a lot of 1/10 ounce gold coins, so they're very popular also, and people just build up their gold stash by just doing a little bit at a time. I had one guy come in yesterday, said, I've been doing this for a number of years, and he says he told me how many ounces of silver he had accumulated just by buying a few ounces a week, and it was amazing how much it mounted up. And as you know, we've always encouraged parents to get their children involved, and that's one of the other things somebody else was telling me about that they do also, taking our advice to get their children involved in saving money by buying gold and silver with their allowances, and it's amazing how it accumulates for them, and they really enjoy it because it's something tangible they can hold in their hands, look at. And they get the gold bug or the silver bug, and the next thing you know, your kids have got more money than you.
Yeah, and those fractional gold coins, the 1/10, the quarter, and the half ounce, those come from the sovereign mints, including the American gold eagles and things. They come from all the major mints, and they're beautiful. William Youngerman opens up at 10 a.m. Stop in at 150 East Palmetto Park Road in Boca, on the first floor of the Bank of America building just east of US 1, Federal Highway, on the south side of Palmetto Park Road. You can give him a call at 1-800-327-5010, 1-800-327-5010, and find both the phone number and address on his website, williamyoungerman.com. All right, William Youngerman, we'll talk tomorrow.
Okay, have a great day.
You too. All right, we are back, and Steve, you back with us?
I am.
Okay, see, we got all the bugs worked out. All right, let me take another call. Well, you know what? Let me give out the number because I wanted to, we had an amazing thing happen yesterday I want to tell you about in a moment. But I want to, if you'd like to call in, the number's toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. If you're on hold, stand by. I don't think you're going to see a lot of coverage in the television media at all over this story. But and I'll tell you why, and I think this is important to say, but this is the beginning of a major plan. This is something you got to understand. Pam Bondi is the Attorney General, Kash Patel, FBI Director, and the number one Deputy Director is Dan Bongino. He's got the number 2 job at the FBI. Not only do all 3 of them live in Florida, they are close, tight, personal friends that socialize together, and they have for years, all right? And the significance of that is a lot. And here's the significance of that. They're so tight, they don't even have to speak to communicate, right? You know, like you and I are, Steve. We can just look at each other and know what the other one's thinking. Pam Bondi gave an interview to Lara Trump over the weekend on Lara Trump's first show on Fox, and she talked about this. She says, we are tight, we are friends, we've been friends for years, and we want to protect him, meaning the president. So I think that they have a very detailed timeline of investigations and crimes. I think it's not a coincidence they started at the first one. I thought they might start at low-hanging fruit that was recent. They're starting from the beginning, so when they're done, there is a criminal conspiracy RICO timeline of the entire government conspiracy against President Trump. This is what the Warren Commission was supposed to do, but didn't because they were part of the cover-up, right? So we're at the beginning of something miraculous, and it's history. So, but the media aren't going to cover it because most of the media are liberal and don't want to cover it. Fox and I know there's good people on Fox, Laura, Hannity. I'm not talking about everybody at Fox. Fox management has an ego issue here. They just fired Bongino. And now he's the man of the hours, the deputy director. He'll probably be the one that puts the cuffs on Comey, Bongino. He'll probably.
What did they fire Bongino for?
I don't know why. They just didn't think he was all that. And because there's an ego thing with that. You know what I mean? Like he's not all that. So
how long ago did they fire Bongino?
I don't remember exactly, but it hasn't been a year maybe, less. You know, and
okay, but it's been a while. It's not a Today story.
No, but it was long after Tucker. Okay. It was long after Tucker, and I just don't think they want to give a lot of credit to him, and so there's a lot of ego involved there with that. So, but they'll get over it eventually. But Bongino was likely the one that'll put the handcuffs on Comey. I think that's why they brought him in, to lead the teams in the field.
I'd like to see that.
Oh, don't worry, you will. You know, Laura Ingraham went down to Gitmo with Pete Hegseth yesterday. So, yeah, I could see Hannity or someone with Bongino when they break down the door and put the cuffs on Comey. Now, before we go back to the phones, though, yesterday, Steve, I wish you were with me. I mean, yesterday, I went to the... To that workshop with Attorney Barry Siegel for the Revocable Living Trust. Steve, Barry had this in a huge room. I mean, a big room. It was filled with our listeners. And I was really moved by it. I was really moved by it. And I was a little reluctant to do it because we just had this appearance at Wings Plus for the inauguration, and it was standing room only. Right. And I said to you, I don't know, Steve, it's, we just did this thing. And you said, no, it's a different thing. I told Barry, he's like, it's a different thing. It was a full house. There weren't even enough chairs. So everyone that came, thank you so much for supporting the program, the Steve Kane Show, me, and of course the Siegel Law Group. But everyone was telling me how much weight I've lost. Everyone. One nice lady, she put her hands on my cheek and said, "Look at the definition in your face, Brian. You got like a square jaw going." And then she put her hand on my stomach and said, "Look how flat." She said, "Look how flat your tummy is." She said, "Look how flat your tummy is now." And people kept telling me how much weight that I have shed in such a short time, just a month. And that's Coastal Weight Loss Secret. And a lot of people are telling me, I got to get over there. I got to get over there to the Coastal Weight Loss Secret. Yeah, you do. It works. I'm not taking any medications. People were asking me yesterday, are you on Ozempic? No, I'm not on Ozempic. I'm not taking any medications. And I'm not exercising. I am not. The only thing I'm exercising is my mouth. Okay? Coastal Weight Loss Secret. I'm going to give you the number. And when you call over there, make sure you tell them you heard about them on the True Oldies channel. Okay? Dr. Zuckerman is great. And I'm still losing. I'm like 2 to 3 pounds away from my goal. My goal was to lose 25 by March 30th. It's not even March yet. And I'm like 2 or 3 pounds from my goal. So I'm going to keep going, I think. So give Coastal Weight Loss Secret a call, 561-247-6300, 561-247-6300, and online, coastalweightlossecret.com. All right? Okay, let's go back to the phones. Let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Morning, Steve and Brian. It's JJ from Mass.
Hey.
JJ.
Hey, Steve. Well, I was going to say I think Tom and Vindman need to go to cruelty to animals court. Obviously, Tom for that trans dog. I think that's kind of cruelty.
Yeah.
And Vindman for just beating a dead horse.
I mean
Russia thing.
Vindman.
That's insane. That was.
I almost feel bad for Tom. I thought that was a softball question I asked. I didn't realize it would put him on this. I knew it would put him on the spot, but not that much.
Yeah, the trans dog, that took quite the imagination for that.
Oh my God!
But
was it really an imagination, or was it an admission? I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think he
Enough of the dog. Okay, it's a family show here.
Leave the dogs alone. That's what I say.
That's right.
But listen. I mean, Bongino and Cash. To me, they're like. Two American pit bulls, and they've got Pam Bondi. It's almost like a friggin' 007.
It's a perfect team. We're short on time, JJ, so I'll give you the last word.
Well, I think all said, Brian. All things said and done, your analysis on the statute of limitations is correct. But I believe, quite frankly, it's all treason anyway, and there is no statute of limitations.
I agree. That's my understanding too. All right, take care. Thanks for the call. All right, let's see here. Hold on, Steve. We got so many calls. I don't know where to go. Hold on. Let's go to this one. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Bruce from Lake Worth.
Hey, Bruce. What's up?
Hey, good morning. What Tom misses is that these are major crimes bordering on or actually treason.
Correct.
And he doesn't quite grasp that. When you have a leftist mind, it's all about the basic talking points that you're going to hear now. He's out for revenge. He's out for revenge. And it's not his. He's doing so much. Yesterday, I was in Walmart, and those little rollback flags that they have on each item?
Yeah.
They had hundreds, if not thousands, on all the shelves. I was amazed. So it's working.
Yeah, well, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, prices are coming down, and people are going to jail.
Yeah, no, I really do believe Bongino was brought in to lead the field teams. He's gonna be like the agent in charge of the field teams when they go in and do it. All right, well, listen, we're short on time, but you made some good points. Thanks for the call. All right, take care.
Okay, take care.
Yeah, by the way, we've had great calls today, and thanks so much, everyone. We're running out of time, so if you're on hold, hang in there because we'll be back tomorrow at 6. And if you're on hold, you'll be first in line on tomorrow's show. But I do want to thank I know I said this a lot, but Steve, the number of people that showed up to a workshop on estate planning and revocable living trust, it blew me away. I was really moved by it. And everyone who came yesterday, I just want to say again, thank you so much. It meant a lot to me and to Attorney Barry Siegel and the Siegel Law Group. And thank you all for doing that. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. My name is Brian Craig. Steve, of course, has been here. We'll be back tomorrow at 6 a.m., and there'll be more I didn't even get to my show prep today. I really only had this one story. Take care, everyone. We'll talk tomorrow. Well, listen, guys. That's it. We're out of here for today. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. If you're new, this obviously is where MAGA comes to talk. Make sure you subscribe if you don't mind. And if you're already subscribed, could you like the video, and even share the video. That helps a lot to grow the community. All right, take care. I'll have a new podcast today, so keep an eye out for that. Take care, everyone.